Glass was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, Sarah Paulson, Anya Taylor-Joy, Spencer Treat Clark, Shailene Woodard, and Samuel L. Jackson. The sequel to Unbreakable and Split, Glass brings together the stories of David Dunn, played by Bruce Willis, Kevin Crumb, played by James McAvoy, and Elijah Price, played by Samuel L. Jackson, for a showdown of superheroes and villains colliding together their lives and loved ones. There has never been a trilogy like this. 20 years in the making, and until 2 years ago, we had no idea there ever would be a trilogy coming from 2000's Unbreakable, my favourite film by M. Night Shyamalan. The story of David Dunn, now called The Overseer, Kevin Crumb, or The Horde, and Elijah Price, or Mr. Glass, has come to a close, and Shyamalan remains the ever-ambitious and original filmmaker he is with this movie, one which you will not expect to go where it does, for better and worse. To cut a long story short, I did like Glass. The performances from all three lead actors, as well as Paulson, Joy, Clark, and Woodard, were all good in their own ways, with McAvoy stealing the show. His character still has the most to do because he is the most character at any moment. His connection to Anya Taylor-Joy's Casey is still burning strong in this movie, which beautifully informs both characters and prevents them from being squashed under the return of Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. Willis does feel like he's here because he kind of has to be. He's still good anyway, and Jackson is still calculating and enticing as this nemesis born out of characters like Lex Luthor and Doctor Doom. Shyamalan also remains a great technical filmmaker, once again working with cinematographer Mike Giolakis to capture gorgeous, perfectly framed imagery in the cold, clinical psychiatric hospital setting, some unique action photography, and still distinguishing the look of Glass from Unbreakable and Split. Wes Dylan Thordson's music has an amazing usage of a ticking clock that gives every scene fantastic tension.
You can see the world the way it really is. Always. A kid who can never grow old.
But I had problems with the editing by Luke Ciarocci and Blue Murray. Some sequences had an easy flow to them, but in the second half, things feel slow and clunky, and thus the narrative flaws become emphasized by this poorer pacing. Glass has massive ambitions for its story and characters, wanting to take them to grander emotional heights and stakes, and it kind of works. Shyamalan is making statements about modern-day deconstructions of comic books and superheroes, as well as the possible delusions the main characters have, which is tying off elements of both Unbreakable and Split. But there are other times where characters declaring, "This is the part in the comic where this happens," feels awkwardly placed. Shyamalan has never been the best writer. This is still very much true for Glass, and while one twist in the story is powerful and clearly set up, another one directly after it will cause divisions. Before one sees Glass, you need to look at what kind of filmmaker Shyamalan is. He will never do what you expect him to with his stories. A film about ghosts that changes dramatically upon rewatch, a realistic take on the superhero mythology, an invasion of aliens that aren't aliens at all, a village built on faith, hope, and fear, a movie entirely in a storybook, a cautionary tale about climate change, whatever the hell The Last Airbender was, a father-son story about connection and survival, a found-footage horror film about a family's truth, a secret sequel about unbearable pain, and now a superhero conclusion about manipulation and belief in something greater within. Glass is slow, strange, perplexing, and at times overwrought, and Shyamalan's ambition exceeds his grasp, but he is still exactly who he has always been. With great performances, excellent camera work, and a strong emotional core, Glass is a flawed yet worthy final chapter in the East Rail 177 trilogy, and I'll say that Glass is a B.
Sorry, Marge. I'm afraid this gets my lowest rating ever. 7 thumbs up.
So Glass, have you seen it? What do you think about it? What do you think about this review? Let me know down below, and if you want more Mr. Movies, follow the links coming up right now, and thank you for watching.